great Miles Davis, producer, songwriter, MD, Robert Irving III on piano and keyboards. He's just really, people throw the word genius around, but he's really one. And of course, Jerimiah Collier, the 21-year-old drum phenom. He's been playing with Stanley Clarke. You might have heard of him. A big influence of mine for about 4 years now. Jerimiah is just a monster, one of the most creative young drummers I've actually ever played with. I have the brilliant guitarist Marco Villarreal, who's been playing with me for 12 years. Marco's like whatever I whisper to him, I tell him, I'll say Larry Carlton, he'll do a Carlton solo. I'll say Holsworth, he'll do a Holsworth solo, whatever he needs. Then I'll say Marco Villarreal, and he'll play like himself.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Jeffers, Chicago Jazz Magazine, ChicagoJazz.com, and welcome to another Around Town. And today I am very excited to have Frank Russell, good friend of Chicago Jazz Magazine, good friend of mine. He was actually, we always have to say this, he was actually the first electric bassist on the cover for a feature interview of Chicago Jazz Magazine. So we always like to mention that as well. Now he's got so much we could talk about, but today we're just basically focusing on this exciting gig he's got coming up, New Year's Eve, Epiphany Center for the Arts, 201 South Ashland Avenue, right there in the West Loop of Chicago. He's doing New Year's Eve, 7:30 p.m. in the Sanctuary, somewhere I have helped to kind of kick off over there. And I think it's one of the most intimate rooms in the entire country for jazz. And to hear Frank there, it's going to be something, especially on New Year's Eve. So Frank, welcome to the show as usual. And I am glad you could jump on, and I'm excited for you to have this New Year's Eve gig.
Thanks, Mike. It's always great to be with you, my dear friend. And we go way back. We've actually done some playing together.
That's right.
Mike's a great drummer. And yeah, I'm excited about the New Year's Eve gig.
Yeah, the thing I like about it, outside of all of the essentials that we'll talk about, it's actually at 7:30. So people can actually come out, they can see it. They don't have to be out amateur hour until 2 o'clock in the morning and everything else. It's like 7:30 to probably, 8:45, 9 o'clock. And then you can head back home and ring in the new year or hang out with Frank. I'm sure Frank will hang out for a little while. So talk a little bit about who's in the band. And, I've seen you play there a couple of times, obviously. So talk a little bit about who's in the band and what people can expect to hear that night.
Okay. I have my dear friend of you probably don't like me to say it, but almost 40 years, the great Miles Davis, producer, songwriter, MD, Robert Irving III on piano and keyboards. He's just really, people throw the word genius around, but he's really one. And of course, Jerimiah Collier, the 21-year-old drum phenom. He's been playing with Stanley Clarke. You might have heard of him. A big influence of mine for about 4 years now. Jerimiah is just a monster, one of the most creative young drummers I've actually ever played with. I have the brilliant guitarist Marco Villarreal, who's been playing with me for 12 years. Marco's like whatever I whisper to him, I tell him, I'll say Larry Carlton, he'll do a Carlton solo. I'll say Holsworth, he'll do a Holsworth solo, whatever he needs. Then I'll say Marco Villarreal, and he'll play like himself. So that's always fun. We have fun with that. And the great Tony Carpenter on percussion. Tony's played with the Emotions, Alphonso Johnson, Chester Thompson, Jerry Butler, so many people. So it's going to be a really great band. I'm excited to end the year with such a phenomenal group of musicians.
Well, and you guys are so versatile, and obviously you guys can all play your own gigs, and it's almost like you have 5 leaders on the gig here, but it's your gig. And listening to you guys interact, because I know you guys have done a ton of playing over the years together. And playing this style of music, and you get into the jazz, you get into the funky jazz, you get into R&B. I mean, you cross over all the different genres and everything.
Yeah.
How do you even go about putting together the repertoire you're going to play? I mean,
You know,
it's extensive.
it is. And what's weird, I've played with some leaders that don't write a set list out, and some that follow that list down to the T.
Yep.
I don't usually, I just have a kind of parameter of what we might be playing, about like 30 tunes or something. I'll sit in the tunes and I just kind of fill the room.
Mm-hmm.
I try to start with something kind of exciting to get the juices flowing, but not too bombastic. So we can get those, we don't want to get the crowd like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So we kind of, sometimes we start out with just a regular blues.
Yeah.
A swinging a blues tune or some kind of standard. But it's usually a feel thing. I kind of fill out the audience. I've been playing so long. And I kind of fill the room out.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about that room too, because you've played in arenas with different people. You've played in every jazz club in the entire country, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, toured all over, done everything, whatever. But in that room, the Sanctuary at Epiphany Center, it's an old chapel from 1885. The acoustics are unbelievable. It's an intimate setting, an intimate vibe, and you play a little bit differently than I've heard you play other places, because you can hear everything that's happening.
Yes.
Look in the
Yes.
audience. So talk a little bit about that too. So
the room, the acoustics in that rooms is one of the best. I remember when you told me you were help getting that sound together and the stuff you were bringing in. I remember I came in before it opened up. And the sound in that room is so incredible. It's so incredible that one time I decided to start a tune I wrote called Desi and Sedona for my granddaughter. I said, Marco, let's just me and you start it off. He had acoustic guitar and I had the bass guitar, tune EADGC with so it's an octave up and from the regular bass. And you could hear a pin drop. Yeah. And those notes were the resonance and the brilliance of it. It's just a great sounding room. The staff is phenomenal. I brought in some acapella we'll talk about Ladysmith later. And I said, can you play this while we play the tune? And the sound was so incredible. And they said it sounded like Ladysmith was in the room. So that's always a plus. Well, but it's just an incredible sound. The piano, everything sounds great in all parts of the room.
That we should talk about that, because it's New Year's Eve, and the thing I like about the fact that you're doing a 7:30 show is that this is not like going to a loud club and everybody's going to be standing and getting hammered and drinking and everything. I mean, this is a listening gig. This is something that you go out. It's a very special night for you and somebody else to go out. And maybe you go out and see Frank play, and then you can go out and have dinner afterwards and celebrate the New Year. But this is a great way to kick it off. Because of that, it's intimate. You're going to hear some high level playing in a very intimate listening room. And, you brought up Ladysmith, Black Mambazo, who you toured with back in the 90s, and you did all sorts of things with them. And we've talked about that on the past stuff, but you're also in the process of writing a brand new recording.
Yes.
Having them, you're going to have them featured on it, but talk a little bit about that. And I know you play some of that stuff. Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace, right? You play.
Yeah. I actually played. Well, yeah, they did Amazing Grace years ago, and when their leader and founder Joseph Shabalala died a couple of years ago, it touched me so. I loved him so much. I played a tribute to him on Facebook. I played Amazing Grace solo, which I played like 30 times over the years at memorial services. And one of his sons saw it, and he said, Frank, we're doing a video of our dad's memorial service. Can we include that, your Amazing Grace? And I was so touched. And they actually had me right next to, Paul Simon came on first, then me, then the president of South Africa, then some of the biggest stars in South Africa. So, and then I actually ended the memorial tape. They ended it with me saying, with playing Amazing Grace, saying, "I love you, I will always love you, Joseph Shabalala, rest in peace." So it just brought me to tears, and it's such an honor to be able to know those guys, and they're my brothers. And I'll be playing a couple of tunes. This has been, we did the play 2 years ago.
Right.
Remember, you came out.
Yeah.
And I had the idea of doing a tribute album to them because they love my bass tribute so much. And I said, well, why not do a tribute to you guys? And they thought it was a great idea. And they actually said they're going to sing on it. And I just, like I said, we started 2 years ago. And a lot happened in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, would you agree?
Yeah, something happened. I can't remember.
Something happened. And so it's been put on hiatus. But I was writing all through the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I got basically 2 albums of stuff.
Wow.
I've been sending them demos and stuff, and they've been loving it. I would utilize some of their vocals from songs that they had done a cappella, and I put music around it. Myself and my producer, Vijay Teles-Nayak. Yep. And they're actually loving the stuff. So we're gonna do a couple of those tunes, and it's just been and we won the Jeff Award for that play.
Did you?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we won the Jeff Award for Best Original Music in a Play. And it was such a phenomenal thing. I mean, I'm a little guy from Chicago, then Hammond, Indiana, and I end up writing and performing music with the biggest South African group of all time and actually winning an award for it. That's one of the only times my mother was very impressed with me. No, I'm just kidding.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
Well, so you're gonna be doing all sorts of different stuff and all sorts of different repertoire. And frankerussell.com is where everybody should head over to. So New Year's Eve,
yeah.
Epiphany Center for the Arts, 201 South Ashland Avenue, Epiphany CHI, epiphanychi.com. Tickets are available. And, I know you have a ton of stuff coming up in 2023 that we're going to have you back on and we'll talk about. We actually might do something in person maybe once we get into the new year and all that. But I wanted to make sure we jumped down and talked about this because this is going to be something real special and it's something very unique in Chicago for a New Year's Eve gig that nobody else is able to do. And that's an intimate show with top players in a listening room early enough that you can have a nice night out after the show and you can have an incredible experience there. And of course, when I was at Epiphany, was always encouraged people to walk around. There's 8 art galleries at Epiphany. So when you come to Frank's show and you come into the cafe bar, you're able to walk around. There's 8 art galleries, 3 live music venues. It's a beautiful space. You can go in there early and check the whole place out and after the show as well, I'm sure. So Frank, congratulations on this gig. And man, this is going to be killer. I'm real excited that you're able to do that. Yeah.
Shout out to David and his beautiful wife. And they've been so incredible. And some of my friends that have come to see me said, David is taking them all around the whole place. And just it's just a great room for artists. And he loves artists and we love them. And we love you, Mike. Thanks so much for being such a proponent of the Frank Russell bass experience.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And I look forward to seeing you in person as well. And as I always say at the end of this, all the information's at chicagojazz.com on everything Chicago Jazz. We've still got the Gold Jazz membership happening. It's free to join. You get free stuff, free tickets, free music. So sign up. There's a link on the website. And until next time, hopefully I will see you all somewhere out on the scene.